This girl barely has a care in the world. She's got her bare necessities from the good folks at the New York Wildlife Sanctuary. The Orphan Wildlife Center takes care of animals with the hope that they can be returned to their natural habitat in the wild. And this 17-year-old Syrian brown bear seems to be loving life, hanging out on that wheel. She weighs, by the way, 330 pounds.
Whoa. So don't be fooled by the relaxed pose. If she gets up, you may be in trouble.
Look at her.
Man, that bear's living better than we are. Are you kidding me? I like to spend my day in a wheel, hanging out, eating.
Doing a lot of that apparently. She's living her best life. Oh my gosh.
Man. That's a relaxed way to start the show today. I like that. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Let's begin, as always, with the stories from the very top of our feed. Away we go. And one of our goals here is to show how small acts of kindness can really, in the end, have a big, big impact.
Yes, in this case, making sure two teen girls who happened to be caught in a car crash on their way to their prom were still able to enjoy the prom. So the friends were on their way to the dance when another driver crashed into them. They were okay, thankfully, but scared, shaken up. And that is when some guardian angels in the form of total strangers and a police officer swooped in and saved the day.
And they were really like our guardian angels. They were able to be there when our parents weren't able to be there. And they stayed with us the whole time. Officer Smith was such a blessing to us. She offered to take us to prom afterwards when she realized we were on our way to prom, because we were in our prom dresses out on the side of the road.
We thought she was like joking because she was like, do you want to like get in my car and take a ride? And we were like, what? She was like, do you want to? And we were like, yeah, of course.
I love it. That's right. The girls rolled up to prom in a squad car, and man, they will have a heck of a story to tell for many years to come, all thanks to the kindness of strangers. Again, these were officers in the state of Oklahoma, so they will always tell that story. Let me tell you my prom story.
Oh yeah?
May not remember the theme, you may not remember the food, but you will remember I rolled up in a squad car, and the whole school was talking
you're
about
talking about that. I thought you were going to share your own, Rob, just now. And you were like, let me tell you my story. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good.
Oh, no. My story is very boring compared to theirs, yeah.
Well, I had kind of my senior year of prom, the limousine we were in got a flat tire, and so we were late my senior year to the prom. But it was, it was still fun. It was a blast in the limo, I think like 10 or 12 couples, and we were all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
It was good. All the parents were a little bit like, why so late? And it was like, well,
flat
limo got a flat tire.
Flat tire.
Took a minute, yeah. I imagine like maybe AAA came up. I can't even remember. But
doesn't seem like a long time ago, a different lifetime.
It does,
right? Way
because
back.
it was, Rob.
It was. I'm feeling old. We're gonna move on.
Oh yes. So NFL teams are reporting this week for some off-season training, and one of the guys who's going to be showing up in Buffalo to play for the Bills is Damar Hamlin.
And if you don't remember that name, you certainly will remember the moment a few months ago on Monday Night Football. It was back in January. He suffered cardiac arrest right there on the field, again, during a huge Monday Night Football game, a lot on the line in that game. So everyone was watching and really stunned by what happened on the field. Well, get this. 4 months later, doctors have cleared him to play, to go back to football, and he's actually set to resume team activities. Hamlin explained what doctors said happened to him and how he's going to use that event to help kids off the field.
What happened to me was basically commotio cordis. It's a direct blow at a specific point in your heartbeat that causes cardiac arrest. And 5 to 7 seconds later, you fall out. And that's pretty much what everyone's seen January 2nd of this year. Commotio cordis is the leading cause of death in youth athletes across all sports. So that's something that I personally will be taking a step in to make a change.
I was interviewing a doctor earlier today, and he made the point saying what happened to him was the rarest of rare cases, and a blunt impact right at a certain moment during your heartbeat, and that's what caused him to go down. I mean, for a moment it looked like he was going to die right there in the field. They canceled the game. It was a huge national news story at the time, but 4 months later, back up and running. The doctor said, yeah, listen, it was a freak event, but otherwise, if it was that impact that impacted his heart and nothing else was wrong, he is clear to play and good to go.
Oh, thank goodness for that. He looks so great, because
Yes.
you're right. I think everybody was thinking, God forbid, he's going to die. This is so terrible. this young superstar in more ways than one, not just on the field, because his career looks so promising because of his athleticism, but somebody who's beloved, and I mean beloved, in the Pittsburgh community where he's from, doing so much charity work, and the things that people don't hear about or don't know him for. And now, in a way, through this awful incident, it's given him a platform to do even more great work and to reach even more people. So, sometimes through tragedy, we know on this show comes triumph, and Damar Hamlin is a living example of that.
It'll be amazing to see him back on the field, and the way Buffalo rallied around him and the country rallied around him, and now taking his message to youth sports saying, hey, be careful out there. Look what happened to me. It's a really remarkable story in every possible way. So get back out there, man. See you soon. I know Buffalo's happy.
Yes. And we're going to move to New Jersey now for this next story where Bruce Springsteen is getting his own day in his home state.
It took so long, Jersey, my home state too. The governor there recently declared the boss's birthday, September 23rd, as yet Bruce Springsteen Day. The official announcement read in part that Bruce helped, quote, create the soundtrack to our glory days. He has 20 Emmys, an Oscar, a special Tony Award, and of course was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as he should have been. I mean, talk about Mount Rushmore of music. His face is carved up there as well. Beloved in, you guys beloved in Pittsburgh, Damar.
Right.
Bruce is beloved everywhere, especially in his home state of New Jersey, my home state as well. So well deserved.
There's the reason. He's the boss.
He's the boss.
Oh, bravo.
All right, everybody, time to bring you some quick, fun stories. They're just cool to know, fun to know, as we say here on the show. And today we move from one musical icon to another who had a hit #1 song on this very date back in '86 and helped create one of the most memorable movie scenes from the early '90s.
I just want your extra time and your kiss.
Pretty Woman. How about that? Richard Gere, young Julia Roberts way back when. Of course, the song there talking about the always the timeless classic Kiss by Prince. The tune also won a Grammy for the superstar, one of 7 that he would collect throughout his legendary and singular career. Also fun to know, Prince won an Academy Award for his work on the other I will say another legendary part of his career, the movie Purple Rain, one of the greatest soundtracks ever, I might add.
That's right. And if you can believe it, Rob, not everybody loved Prince's lyrics. What? It was his song, Darling Nikki, that prompted the wife of a senator from Tennessee to try to launch a national campaign to put warning labels on albums. Well, Tipper Gore eventually won that fight, and her husband, Al, as we know, would go on to serve as vice president.
Yeah, remember those explicit lyrics?
Oh, yeah. Weren't allowed to,
I would do
by
it.
those if you were, under a certain age.
Right.
Yeah.
Back when people bought CDs, I remember being in the Sam Goody, and I'm dating myself.
Right.
And,
No. I used to go
remember
there
that?
too. Yeah. And tapes before
Tapes.
CDs. Yeah.
And Darling Nikki is an adult song, yeah, for sure, to be sure, but we won't have that debate. Finally, fun to know that while his halftime show, the Super Bowl in '07, is widely considered one of the best halftime shows ever, it took 624 volunteers to piece that stage together, and that Prince only got to rehearse on it once before going out in front of tens of millions of people. And if you remember, keep that photo up, because tell me a more iconic moment than Prince at the Super Bowl singing Purple Rain in the rain. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable moment.
Well, and it's crazy. I remember this like it was yesterday. I mean, it just, that was a moment. That was a moment in America. Because some Super Bowl halftime shows, they're good. Some are really good. Some are iconic.
And that was
And when
iconic.
we heard Prince was performing, it was just like...
In the rain.
Whoa.
Purple Rain in
when
the rain.
he
Are
sang
you
it,
kidding me?
I know. I love him. Oh, my gosh, do I love his music. God rest his soul.
Amen.
Gone too soon.
Will never be another.